and welcome to the Crimson Misery Podcast, episode 46. My name is Will Rainbow. I hope you all are doing well. It is March 31st, 2025. Baseball season's in full swing. The Cardinals are 3 0. The Cardinals are 3 0. They just swept the Minnesota Twins. The Yankees are just absolutely shooting baseballs out of the park. Um, Good Lord, that team is scary. The Dodgers, of course, are still undefeated. It may as well be another Dodgers Yankees World Series at this point. Um, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. I know it makes sense, but the final two games of the Elite Eight are today, which is UConn and USC. I think UConn will beat USC without Juju Watkins, and then TCU Texas is going to be a very interesting one. I actually think TCU is going to win. I have the lower seeds winning, although Madison Booker is as good as advertised, and I mean it could be pretty close, but I think TCU just has a little more talent than Texas does. Haley Van Lith has had such a comeback player of the year season. Like I'm very happy for her. Sedona Prince obviously um, is been also really good. So I'm really excited to see how the final two games of the Elite Eight on the women's side go. Um, but that being said, let's get right into the madness, I suppose. Few pretty good games. I'll start on the men's side, going into the Sweet 16 and then the Elite Eight. Uh, oh boy, Maryland. Maryland lost to Florida. Kevin Willard likely goes out with a beatdown to Florida, and it's likely rumored that he's taking the Villanova job, and I he's handled this so poorly. It's really up there um, with I forget his name. He had a disastrous exit from what oh god, what school was it? It wasn't Shaka Smart, right? It was some um I forget who I'm thinking of, but this is like Bobby Petrino levels of just ineptitude from when he was head coach of the Falcons, and then he went to Arkansas. I mean, he apparently lied to the AD. He apparently lied to different media outlets, players that he was staying, and then the infamous graphic from um, I forget where it was posted, probably on three, and it said I don't know what I'm doing, and yeah, that's pretty accurate. That has a lot of meme potential. And boy, in this game, I thought Maryland was definitely gonna. I mean, especially because they were only down two at halftime, but Florida was just so talented in this game. Like their bigs, Alex Condon and Thomas Howe, like they really stepped up in that one, and they stepped up in the in the Elite Eight game versus Texas, Texas Tech, right, not Texas, um, Texas Tech, who overcame like a 13-point deficit and with like under 5 minutes to go. Darian Williams stepped up big time in that game and stepped up big time in the Florida game, and overcame a 30-point outing from John L. Davis, and I mean JT Toppin had some clutch baskets. But Texas Tech ultimately kind of fell victim to that comeback because Florida um, was down by 10 with like under 4 minutes to go. Darian Williams again was really good, but then like Thomas Howe, I know hit a couple of big threes, and then Walter Clayton, that dude is unconscious. Absolutely terrific. Hit two big threes, one of which he was like in the paint and then immediately stepped out and like just shot a three that went in and gave them the lead. Um, it didn't help, obviously, the Texas Tech missed two uh, front ends of the 1-1, which obviously is really killer. But man, great job by Florida. They are in the Final Four. It is, I mean, spoiler alert, it's all one seeds in the Final Four. Hasn't happened since 2008. I don't think I even mentioned, what I normally mention is that if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, rate the show 5 stars. If you're listening on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment down below. All right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I was gonna have an episode out after the Sweet 16, but my schedule was very busy. Um, Went out to thanks to my uncle. We went out, and my dad was in town. We went out to the Atlanta United FC game versus New York City FC, and then he and I went to my uncle and I went to the regional final in the South region, Auburn, Michigan State, which was a lot of fun. I am kind of deaf now from the crowd, the very pro Auburn crowd, but yeah, I will get to that game in a little bit. Um, Duke destroyed, or they didn't really destroy Arizona, but they still put up 100 on Arizona's defense. And Arizona, despite scoring 93 points, Caleb Love went out with 35 points. Final career game for him. Um, but yeah, uh, I mean, Cooper Flag dropped 30, and that's again kind of the same deal in the Alabama game, which I'll get to Alabama in a second. But Duke just takes away so much from you and can just score at like any point. Like it's actually kind of ridiculous how good Duke is at that. They are the by far the most talented team still in the field, maybe aside from Auburn. I would put Florida slightly below that, and then no, I don't know at this point because Florida beat Auburn in their matchup. That's a tough one to call, honestly. Auburn and Florida is a really tough one to call. I think Duke beats Houston, but yeah. But anyway, I just talent wise, Duke is by far and away the best team. I think talent wise. Alabama defeated BYU before they lost to Duke. They defeated BYU 113-88, and Alabama hit 25 threes. They went 25 of 51 from beyond the arc. And then against Duke, they scored 113 points against BYU, who again, pretty good offense, not great defense. I believe they're like 83rd in KenPom. And then on Saturday, they scored only 65 against Duke. So again, Duke just takes away so much from you. They held that Alabama offense to 65 points. And they didn't need like a ton of scoring from Cooper Flag. Like other guys filled in pretty easily. Like that Alabama offense that hit 25 threes went 8 of 32 from distance against Duke. And you really, I mean, you look at Mark Sears going only one of five from three, 2 of 12 overall. That's what that Duke defense does. He was getting blocked nonstop, it seemed like, because Duke's athleticism and length is so impressive. Um, I would be shocked if Duke did not win the national title, but it's a pretty good field overall. Um, Even still, let's move on to Friday. The Friday Sunday matchups. Auburn had to come back against Michigan, 78-65. Um, to win 78-65, but they were down by like 9 points, and then the whistle was not very favorable for Michigan. Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden could only do so much before Auburn just completely took over. Janai Broom was named the South Region MOP, Most Outstanding Player, for a reason. He had 22 points, 16 rebounds against Michigan, and I'll get to the game against Michigan State. But Michigan State also had to come back against Ole Miss, despite 24 points from Sean Padula. Uh, I, Michigan State they used that second half once again. They were able to get a win against Ole Miss. They got to 30 wins, but then ultimately on Sunday they lost. And I was there. It was a very pro Auburn crowd. Um, One guy next to me was like, I'm pretty sure he was chewing tobacco. He kept like spitting. It was really gross. He was like a college kid. He was probably younger than me, but like, Yeah, that was really weird. But yeah, Auburn came out hot. Just seeing them in person was so like it, I knew Auburn was impressive and I knew Janai Broom was impressive, but holy shit. Like I watching Auburn play in person is scary. Like I would not want to face that team. I mean, 25 points and 14 rebounds for Janai Broom. He got hurt in the second half. It looked like he hurt his hand or arm or wrist. He had to go into the locker room and then return for a i- incredibly loud ovation. And then he immediately hit a three right after that. So it and Auburn again, kind of like Duke, they take away so much from you. So Michigan State really wasn't able to use that like second half mojo that they had going on during the regular season. And Michigan State was the last Big Ten team remaining in the tournament. And once again, the Big Ten will not win the national title. They will they will go another year without it. And it's been since 2000 since a Big Ten team last won the national title. So I've already gone in depth about why that has been. I really overestimated Michigan's like depth, especially front court depth, because I thought their guards would kind of be able to at least stop somewhat of what Auburn does offensively, and that just wasn't the case. I mean, whether it was Pettiford or Miles Kelly or Chad Baker Mazzara, even though he made some really boneheaded plays. He is a wild card, and I don't know if the dude is fully there mentally, but he did make some really dazzling plays and hit a couple big threes as well. Michigan State, I mean, Jackson Kohler had a really good game. He had a double double, 17 points, 11 rebounds. But really, like Jeremy Fears and Jaden Akins and Jace Richardson, they just weren't able to get going. Trey Holloman, same way. But again, for Michigan State, for a team that had almost no expectations going into this year, for them to be unranked and go 30-7 on the year, I mean that's another win for Tom Izzo. Like the man still has it. Another Elite Eight appearance. That's a pretty damn good year. And yeah, really, really. Maybe Indiana is will be the next team to win the national title. I'm deluding myself, I know, but one day, one day that will happen. So then in the Midwest region in Indianapolis, we had Houston and Purdue, which Purdue gave Houston its best game so far, and Purdue got screwed in this one. This was a very close game. Milos Uzan kept hitting big shots, and every time it appeared like Houston um, was gonna pull away, Purdue kept kept climbing. I mean, I know Braden Smith didn't have a great scoring night, but I think he had like 14 or 15 assists. Um, he was dishing it a lot, which he kind of had to do because he's kind of, along with Kaufman Wren, their like number one scoring threat. And when you take away that from Purdue, you have to rely on other guys. So fortunately, it was a pretty low scoring game for them. They kind of had to make it a low scoring game. Trey Kaufman Ridd had 14, Fletcher Lawyer had 16. But I mean, Camden Heidi also hit three threes, one of which tied the game at 60. Um, with like I believe it was like 15 seconds left or something. And I know Houston had the ball last. Milos Uzan pushed. I believe it was Braden Smith. He pushed off, and it was a no call. It should have been Purdue ball, and uh, he missed the shot, but the ball went out of bounds off Purdue, and so then Houston designed that inbound play where you immediately get it back to the inbounder, which was Uzan, and Purdue kind of fell asleep on that, and Houston scored to win the game. I think there was like only zero point 0.9 seconds left, so um, Houston survived that, and then Tennessee did not let Kentucky beat them twice or three times. Kentucky beat them twice during the regular season, but then Tennessee just stomped them 78-65. which is made me believe that like Tennessee was gonna have a pretty close game against Houston, and that did not happen. Houston held Tennessee to just 15 points in the first half. Um, Good God, man. I mean that basically is the story right there. Houston's defense and their athleticism really just put Tennessee out of it from the start. I mean, it wasn't even a contest at that point. I think Tennessee got it down to like 10, but even still, it just wasn't. It just was not close. So yeah, this was the chalk tournament. I I should have known. I should have known. Maybe next time I'll be a little smarter when it comes to like, Ken Palm metrics and all that. But that's not what I predicted. I believe I had Duke, and I think Duke may have been the only one seed I had in my Final Four. Um, man, I should have realized that. But anyway, let's skip ahead a little bit to Florida Auburn and Houston Duke. If I had to guess, I think we're getting a wow. That's close. Auburn really impressed me watching them live, but I think Florida just has that mojo. They've already beaten Auburn, they've beaten Alabama twice, they've beaten Tennessee twice. I just think Florida is the hottest team right now. I just think they are able to neutralize so much. They have the firepower to beat Auburn, of course. I just think Florida is going to win that one. Although I think that'll be a pretty close one. I think both games will be pretty interesting. Although I do think Duke is better than Houston. I just don't think Houston's defense is going to be strong enough to beat Duke, especially because Duke does have the length and athleticism to compete with Houston's defense. So again, as I said, first Final Four with all one seeds since 2008, when it was UCLA, Kansas, North Carolina, Memphis, and then Memphis, Kansas um, for the national title. That was the famous Mario Chalmers shot when Derrick Rose and company for Memphis just kept missing their free throws down the stretch. So, yeah, I'll be very interested to see what happens. But right now, it'll be Florida and Duke as my national championship pick. And then on the women's side, um, South Carolina is dodging bullets, man. They were down to Maryland in the fourth quarter, and then Mylasia Full-Wiley stepped up quite a bit. Um, Chloe Kitts stepped up as well in the Maryland game, and I think and in the Duke game too. Um, but they only beat Maryland by four. They only beat Duke by four. So they've been kind of living on the edge a little bit, but they got to another Final Four. Don Staley does it again. Like, man, like, no matter what, like, it just seems like South Carolina looked so much more vulnerable, and yet they're still like a fantastic team that's 33-3 and is going to another Final Four. It's unreal the amount of success that Don Staley has had. I cannot hate Don Staley, like genuinely. She is I will like sometimes I do dislike programs and teams that are kind of like super teams and are, like the Chiefs or I never really hated the Warriors in the NBA. Like the Lightning in the NHL a little bit. Um, but here, like, and especially like UConn with Dan Hurley. I mean, goddamn. But I just can't hate Dawn Staley. Like, she's also like pro trans rights, which is pretty cool. And um, I know she was mocked heavily for that on the right, and that was really cool. Uh, I mean, especially someone on the left, it is like just like someone who is successful as her in women's sports is like, is saying that, like, probably one of the greatest coaches, especially in the modern game of all time. Like, that's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, South Carolina goes to another Final Four. congrats to them. Congrats to UCLA as well, who also made the Final Four as a one seed. They defeated Ole Miss in the Sweet 16, and then they defeated LSU 72 to 65. LSU beat NC State. Flau'jae Johnson and Michaela Williams and Anissa Morrow. Of course, they are fantastic. I mean, Flau'jae Johnson had like 28, I think, in the Elite Eight against UCLA, and held them pretty much in check in the first quarter. And then UCLA was like, "Nah, we're just better than you." Um, Gabriela Jaquez hit four threes in this one. I think she hit the dagger to put them ahead. But I think it was like by five or six, I want to say. But man, UCLA is even when Lauren Betts didn't have her best game, only 17 points, which is like only 17 points for Lauren Betts is like pretty crazy. But still, um, I UCLA, great job. I really um And it's also just like knowing that Kim Mulkey is not going to the Final Four is like, yes, ha ha ha. Um, but yeah, uh, and then also I also have to make a mention of Duke, North Carolina, with Duke winning 47 to 38. Like that has to be one of the most low scoring games in the modern era, at least for a for any tournament game, but just like for this to be in like a regional semifinal game, like good God. I mean, both teams are great defensively, don't get me wrong, but like 47 to 38? Are you serious? Like that is pretty wild. Yeah. Oluchi Okonanwa had a double double though, 12 points, 12 rebounds. Um, Yeah, I mean it is really like such a strange team, and their defense also stepped up against South Carolina. That's what got them back into this one because um they were up I think by four heading into the fourth quarter against South Carolina, but yeah, South Carolina just way too talented, and like again, um Sanaya Fagan had some big plays defensively. I think she had like three or four steals. Um, she had a couple clutch buckets as well. Um, but yeah, in the other day, Texas had to fight back against Tennessee. I believe they were trailing or tied at half or not halftime, but at the end of the third quarter. Um, but then Tennessee just kept turning it over. They kept like bricking their threes, which I kind of felt like if they weren't hitting their shots, then because they do shoot a lot of threes, the Texas would take advantage of that, and boy, did they! Um, yeah, it was really just Texas just being better, um, especially with Taylor Jones and Rory Harmon um, and obviously Madison Booker. Their length was really bothering Tennessee. I could tell. Um, and we'll see what happens with Texas and TCU, but I feel like TCU has enough, especially a little bit more ball control with Haley Van Lith. That'll be interesting to see. And then, I mean, TCU defeated Notre Dame. It was a block party because Notre Dame they were just uncomfortable this whole game. Really, disappointing fall off for them, especially with as much talent as they have. Um, yeah, I was really surprised that they only scored 62 against TCU, but at the same time, like, definitely goes to show you how important HVL is to this team. Um, and again, I really think TCU has a shot to beat Texas. I really do. And then UConn. Oh my God. Yeah, like what I said about Oklahoma maybe being able to compete with UConn. Jesus Christ, Paige Beckers just said, "Yeah, I'm better than all of you," and had 40 points. She just like keeps getting better and better. It's absolutely insane how good Paige Beckers is. Um, Good Lord. I mean, like, what else do you say? I mean, might, like, obviously, Gino Auriemma has had some fantastic players throughout his tenure at UConn, historic tenure at UConn. And I'm still just like in shock of how good Paige Beckers is. Like, again, like you could talk about um Brianna Stewart or um Katie Lou Samuelson or Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi. Even still, like, I mean, Paige has got to be up there, right? um I'm just in shock about how good she is. And it's just like it's unfair to guard her because like she just like does everything well. And I literally she's gonna like tear up the WNBA. Like I'm not saying it'll be on like Clark levels, but she's still gonna be insanely good. Um yeah, yeah. I'm still just in awe about her, how good she is. And then USC without Juju Watkins still made it to the Elite Eight. I think they're going to get destroyed though, by UConn. I just think without Juju Watkins, that's kind of a mismatch. So think UConn has that one. That'll be on Monday. Um, Yeah. So 7 o'clock, we have TCU in Texas, and then at 9 is UConn USC. That could be a Final Four in and of itself, man. Like seriously. But the fact that UCLA and South Carolina are waiting for the two winners, like, oh boy, this is going to be a great Final Four on both sides. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to see what ends up happening there. Um, Yeah, that's pretty much the recap for this. So I wanted to give also a brief mention to the NIT. UC Irvine and Loyola Chicago did move on, and then April 1st is the semifinals. So North Texas will be facing UC Irvine at 7, and then 9:30 it'll be Chattanooga Loyola Chicago. If I had to guess, it'll probably be I like North Texas's defense a lot. I think we're going to get a slight upset. I think it'll be North Texas and Loyola Chicago. Although it could be UC Irvine. That's going to be a great game in the NIT. So wanted to give a mention there. That's going to be really, really great to see. UC Irvine with 31 wins this year. Great program. It's about all I have for you all in today's episode. I know it's a bit on the shorter side, but fewer games means fewer fewer minutes to talk about the podcast. So likely I will be back probably on Saturday to recap the Final Four since um, the women's Final Four is on Friday, and then the men's is on Saturday, and then the championship for the women's will be Sunday, and then the men's on Monday. So that's probably will be the schedule. So yeah. Anyway, I know it's a bit of a shorter episode, but glad to talk about this with y'all, and I will see you all on Saturday night or Sunday, probably Sunday. Let's be fair. Um, yeah, again, hope you all are having a great week. I know it's a bit of a tough time out there, so hope you all are doing well. Trying to just keep sane. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. So again, thanks so much for listening, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.